Hello, folks. I'm sure many of you have probably heard the recent Consumer Reports report on lead in various protein supplements. And though I do believe a lot of it is to some degree hype and probably blowing some things out of proportion, it did make me want to re-examine where I'm getting my protein and, eventually make the switch over to pretty much everything from whole foods. It's supposed to be better for you, and honestly, it's probably something I should do at my age. So I ran the numbers and got the numbers right here. There are a lot of them, and I didn't take the time to memorize them, so I am going to be reading part of this. But I wanted to look at whole foods versus supplements that I eat regularly to see which of the things I'm ingesting are actually worthwhile to have as supplements, at least for protein, and I'm looking in regards to both total calories to get the protein and the cost to get that protein. To make this all fair, I have broken down regular costs in my area for each of them in order to get 100 grams of protein. I'm a little over 200 pounds. Realistically, I should get 200 grams of protein, but throughout the rest of my diet, I find it's pretty easy to get the first 100 grams or so of protein, and the rest of it I either need to pile on protein supplements or, as I've decided now, a whole lot of chicken. So let's start with the chicken. Around here, it's about $3 a pound. That pound is 440 calories and gives you 92 grams of protein. So to get 100 grams of protein, you would need 1.08 pounds. Let's just round that to 1.1 pounds. Take 478 calories, pretty close to 500, let's round that as well, and it would cost $3.24. This may seem like a lot. In order to get 200 grams of protein in a day, I would need to spend about $6.48. Which, as it turns out, looking at some of the other numbers, is actually the clear winner. Eggs, another classic. I'm looking at the white, large eggs. I typically get the dark yolk variety. It's about $5 a dozen, or 42 cents per egg. One egg is 70 calories, 6 grams of protein. I love them. I cook them up all sorts of different ways. I'm not giving up eggs. I don't care what the numbers say. But you would need 16 2/3 eggs to get 100 grams of protein. That's 1,162 calories, and it would cost $6.66. That's twice the cost in calories of chicken breast. It does give you a lot more micronutrients, but man, the gas must smell terrible if you're eating 16 eggs a day. It also makes me think Gaston was probably rocking some pretty good protein. He was dropping about $25 a day in modern money for 5 dozen eggs, rolling in 4,200 calories and 360 grams of protein, and I would never want to be trapped in an elevator with him if he lets loose, my goodness. 90% beef, fairly lean, cooks pretty nice, needs some additives so it doesn't dry out. It's about $6 a pound here for the good stuff. I usually shop at Wild Fork, their prices are pretty reasonable. That is 1,045 calories with 128 grams of protein for that 1 pound of 90% beef. I'm talking the ground variety here. So you would need 0.78 pounds, about 12.5 ounces, to get 100 grams of protein, and that comes out to $4.68, 815 calories. More expensive than the boneless, skinless chicken breast, more calories than the boneless, skinless chicken breast. Honestly, much more flavorful. I think I'm probably going to mix and match on that one. 80% beef, a little higher fat content there. It's about $5 a pound, slightly cheaper for the block of it, but it comes out to 1,148 calories and 76 grams of protein for that pound. So you would need 1 1/3 pounds, about 21 ounces, to get 100 grams of protein, which comes out to $6.50, so about as much as the 90% beef. About as much as the eggs. It's 1,492 calories, though. That's a lot of your daily calories. So if you wanted to get 200 grams of protein from 80% beef, you're looking at, like 3,000 calories. That's a lot. One of the supplements, they call it a meal replacement shake, that I use fairly often is Huel Black Edition. It was ranked as one of the highest in lead content. I'm sure it must be. I mean, plants do absorb lead from the soil, and that's a pretty dense, processed plant material. Anyway, it's about, I'm looking at the single unit cost, not the subscription cost. The single unit is $56.30 for a bag of 17 of their meals. I think the subscribe option is like $45, so it's a little bit less expensive. Each meal has 40 grams of protein and 400 calories. You would need a neat 2.5 meals to get 100 grams of protein. However, that works out to a very even 1,000 calories and $8.28. That's pretty expensive as it turns out. It's nowhere near chicken in any regard. It does give you a lot greater variety in the other macronutrients and micronutrients, but it is expensive, and man, it's fattening. Really easy, though. Orgain Vegan Protein Powder Chocolate Fudge version. This is one I used to get a little more often. I still have a tub lying around somewhere. It's nice to throw it in some coffee sometimes. I make a little sort of mocha mix with some instant coffee, the Orgain, a little bit of creatine. It's actually pretty tasty. Each container is spot on for $30. I think it's like $29.97, some odd number like that. There are 20 servings in the container. Each one has 21 grams of protein, 150 calories. So you would need 4.76 servings in order to get that 100 grams of protein. Come out to 714 calories and, curiously, $7.14, assuming no sales tax on this. Of course, there is also the old standard, my new standard, Optimum Nutrition Whey 100% vanilla. It clumps up like nobody's business more than any other protein supplement I have used. When I first tried it, it did give me some stomach problems, which apparently is a thing that whey protein does. I like it more, though. It's a lot cleaner of a protein source and gets you the amino acids you need in a better profile. Still, for the big tub, that is $86. However, there are 68 servings in that tub, and each one is 24 grams of protein and 130 calories per serving. So you would need 4.17 servings to get that 100 grams of protein, which comes out to 542 calories and $5.27. In all regards, the Optimum Nutrition is the closest to boneless, skinless chicken breast, that old standard. It's definitely more expensive, about 60% more per, whatever you're looking at, comparative protein amount. The calorie count is pretty darn close, but it is a little more fattening than the boneless, skinless chicken breast, which is basically no fat, no flavor, no life, unless you cook it right. I've got like 5 pounds slow cooking right now, so looking forward to that later. Chicken does win on all accounts, but the important difference between the protein supplements and the actual whole food, aside from whole food being all around better for you and the supplements apparently having a lot of heavy metals and other problems, is that the whole foods you do need to cook. And you need to clean the things that you cook with. And once it's cooked, you need to store it. And it doesn't store as easily as tubs of protein powder. It also doesn't mix as easily. I mean, it's more time, it's more effort. But as it turns out, the chicken is just less expensive, cleaner protein. It's good on the amino acids. And I think I'm just going to buy a whole bunch of chicken going forward. I get the feeling, after looking at these numbers, I'm going to use the rest of the protein powders that I have, but I'm not going to order any more. I don't know if the amount of lead or cadmium or whatever other heavy metals that are in there are really truly bad for you, or if it's just a very stringent standard that they're looking at it in comparison to. But it ain't good. And it is more expensive, sometimes double, almost triple as expensive as honest-to-goodness Whole Foods. So that closes the book on that. I don't know what y'all are doing, but I think I'm just going to slow cook a whole bunch of meat every few days and use that along with a scale. Fewer dishes, pretty easy, set it and forget it. I'm going all chicken all day, aside from the beef and the other beef and the eggs and the pork and the other meats that I love to eat. But that's all regular diet stuff, not supplementary protein. So, 1.08 pounds of chicken, which sounds like a lot, but I know I can eat it in a single sitting. And yeah, I'm going to be ditching the powders. Anyway, have fun out there. Enjoy whatever it is you're eating. And I hope that whatever you're eating, you are comfortable with it and can afford it. All right.